In this video, we are going to talk about how to solve the problem regarding epidemiology. We have a certain number of people that are infected on the initial day zero. We also know how many people are going to get sick after 1 day. We are supposed to find the number of days that it will take for a total number of people to get infected. The input is in this form. The first number is going to tell us what is the target number. The second number is the number of people which are infected on day zero, and the third number is the number of people who are going to be infected by the people from the previous day. Now, there are two things you have to remember. First of all, the problem asks us to find the number of days that is needed to have more than first number that people are infected. For instance, in this case, we have to find the number of days that it will take for the number of people infected to be more than 750. And the other condition is that the people can infect other people only the next day. Meaning, for instance, in this case, initially there is only one person. This person can infect 5 people, but the next day, this person cannot infect anybody. So these are the two conditions. Let's look at the examples here. The first one is 750-15. 750-15. This means that on day zero, number of new cases is only 1 because we have only one person. So the total number of cases is 1. In day 1, this one single person can infect 5 people. So there are 5 new cases. Again, the condition is that this person can only infect 5 people the next day. So the total number of cases is going to be 5 plus 1 is 6. The next day, this person cannot infect anymore, but these 5 new cases can infect 5 more people. So 5 times 5 is 25. That's the total number of cases. 25 plus previous number, which is 6, is going to give us 31. The next day, 25 people can infect 5 people each. So 25 times 5 is 125. 125 new cases plus 31, which was from previous day, gives us 156. The next day, these 125 people, they can infect 5 people each. So 125 times 5 gives us 625. 625 plus 156 gives us 781. And the target is 750, so we say it takes 4 days. In the next example, we have 10, 2, 1. This means that initially there are 2 people which are infected. Every person can infect only one person, and we want to know how many days it will take for the number of people infected to be more than 10, not even equal. So day 0, we have 2 new cases because there are 2 people infected. So the total cases is 2. The next day, each one of these 2 can infect only one person. So we're going to have 2 new cases. 2 plus 2 gives us 4. The day after, only these 2 people can infect. So 2 times 1, because there is only one multiplier here. So it's going to be 2. 2 plus 4 is 6. The same way, 2 times 1, 2 2. 2 plus 6 is 8. 2 times 1 gives us 2. 2 plus 8 is 10. Because the number of total cases has to be greater than the target, we have to go one new day, which is going to be 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 10 is 12. So it's going to take us 5 days to infect more than 10 people. Now let's start writing the app. Design the screen the way that I have shown here. Change the title to epidemiology. Drag and drop a horizontal layout. Then drag and drop a label. Change the text in the label. For instance, here it says enter data separated with comma. Then drag and drop a text box in front of it. And then drag and drop a button here. I have changed the name of the text box to input_txt, and I have changed the text on the button to be process and the name to be process_ptn. Also, I've dropped a notifier so I can use to display the result to the user. Now let's write the code. I'm going to introduce a couple of variables here. The first one we are going to call new cases. This represents the number of new cases every day. Initially, I'm going to set the value to be equal to 0. The next one I'm going to create is called target. This is the number of cases that we are looking for. Initially 0. Another one I'm going to introduce, I'm going to call it multiplier. This is going to be the number of people that can be infected by one person. I'm going to introduce another one, which is called total number of people infected. This number is the one that has to be greater than target. The next one I'm going to introduce, I'm going to call it days. This is going to increment every time, every day that I go through the loop. And the last one, I'm going to use a temporary variable called input, which is going to get the information from the text box. Now I'm going to start putting the blocks together to do the actual work. When the user clicks on the button, so I'm going to drag and drop process button. The first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to set the number of days to be equal to 0. This way I make sure that the variable, the number of days, is going to be initialized to the input. The second thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to split the input. So I'm going to split the input. The input is the text box, text. And to do that one, I'm going to go and get the split block. So I'm going to go and split the text at comma. So this is going to create my list inside input. Now the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and initialize other variables to the content of this list. So the first one is total number of people infected. So I'm going to duplicate this one. Now the total number of people infected is going to be the second element of this list. So I go to lists, then I need the select block. And the select block is here. The list is my input, so I need my input, and the element is element 2. So this is going to make my initial value of total number of people infected, and this is 2. Now I'm going to go and get the multiplier. By multiplying, we mean that how many people are going to be infected by individual people. So I'm going to duplicate this one, and then I'm going to say multiplier is going to be the third element. And obviously, if I duplicate this one and change this one to target, the target is going to be the first element. And the last one I have to do is to set the new cases. The new cases is going to be equal to total number of people initially infected. So I'm going to duplicate this one, and I'm going to say total number of people infected. So this is initially, before we go inside the loop. Now we are going to go inside the loop. So far, you learned how to use this type of loop when you know the initial value, the end value. But in our case, we don't know what is the end value because we want to know how many days it takes the total number of people infected to be greater than the target value. I cannot use this type of block. It's going to be very tough. The one that I'm going to use is the while loop. This loop continues until the test is false. As long as the test here is going to be true, then the loop continues. So I'm going to use this one. But the question is, what is the test? The test is the total number of people infected has to be less than or equal to the target. So if this is less than or equal, I'm going to duplicate this one here, less than or equal to the target. Duplicate, put it here. Now, as long as this total number of people infected is less than or equal to target, whatever blocks we have here are going to be executed. As soon as this is not true, meaning the total number of people infected is greater than target, is going to stop. The first thing I'm going to do here is that every time I go through the loop, I'm going to increment the number of days. So I'm going to say duplicate days. I'm going to add 1 to previous days. So I'm going to say add days plus 1. So this represents a new day. The next thing I'm going to do is that, remember, the number of new cases is going to be the number of new cases in previous day times multiplier. So I'm going to say number of new cases is going to be, I need a multiplication, is going to be the number of new cases so every day I'm going to see how many people they got infected the previous day and then multiply it by the numbers, the multiplier, which is the number of people who are going to be infected by individual people. And this number of new cases is going to be added to total number of people infected. So I'm going to say, because this is addition, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to say total number of people infected is equal to total number of people infected. And you can see that it's getting to be too long here. So I'm going to make this one to be external input. So it's going to be total number of people infected plus the new cases. So this is my while test. If the total number of people infected is less than or equal to target, I'm going to increment the number of days. Then I'm going to say, okay, new cases is going to be the previous day new cases time the multiplier. And remember, the multiplier is the number of people that can be infected by individual people. And then I'm going to add these new cases to the total number of people infected and then go up the while loop and check to see if this condition is true or false. If this is true, then I'm going to go through it again. If this is false, I get out. Now, when I get out, I want to use the notifier and I want to show the number of days. So the message is going to be the number of days. So I'm going to duplicate the number of days and put it as a message. Then I need a text block title. For the title, I'm going to go back here and then I'm going to copy the text, go back here, paste it, and for the text on the bottom, I type OK. And that's all there is to this app. Now I'm going to use the emulator. Now the first example is 750.15, so 750, 1, 5. It says 4, which is correct. The next example was 10, 2, 1. And the answer is 5 here, and which is exactly the same as what we had.